What's going on, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists? Welcome to another tutorial, folks. This time it's my Barkeep from Reaper Bones. Now, as you can see, I've done the base separate from the model. I've just got the model prime. I'm going to paint the skin first before I attach them to the model and wash that. So yeah, look, 'cause I don't want it running all over the base. So what I'm going to do is attach him to a little holder and paint his skin with P3 Midland Flesh. Love the P3 paints, as you know. And here we are. Excuse me. So I'm just painting his flesh. So I might as well do his face and arms as well while we're at it. So I get all the skin done first, which is probably what I would do even if he was attached to the model, to the base. But I thought I'd get this done. It's got it thinned down a little bit there, which is fine. In fact, all the paints I use, apart from a couple that are thinned down with my retarder and a drop of water, and it really doesn't matter got the darker primer showing through. There, now that's done. I just did a couple coats of the skin. Now that's done, I've got the P3 flesh tone going on. So I just had to get this done. This section. So all I'm doing is going over the flesh areas now with this flesh wash. Yeah. P3 one it's quite good. If you want a slightly alternative method of doing skin tones, and it's a Reaper Bones model, so it's right, there you go. Look, it's glued to the base now. So Barkeeper. Well, you could even use him like that. And from the games of D&D I used to play, but we're getting painted a bit more. Thunderhawk blue. I'm going to paint his the trousers at the back of his legs on the model here. So it's kind of like a blue-grey almost. So I'll just say once again, thinned down with a bit of retarder and water. And yeah, it's just there's small areas, but eye-catching when you turn him around, so it's important to get that done. If you stood behind the bar for the most part. Okay, Talon Sand is next. Talon Sand, and this is for his tunic top, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a it's kind of a dirty kind of colour, I suppose. More of like a working uniform, I suppose it would be. Don't want to get it. We don't want to have too clean a colour on there. Someone working in something like a bar, it just wouldn't make sense. Apologies off camera a couple of times there, but yes, the tunic area on the top of the model. You'll see it there. There you go. Look. Once again, all thinned down, and once again, it doesn't matter if you got the darker colour showing through. It's not actually black. It's Panzer Grey, the primer. So, but as you'll see when we come to do the shade washes later on, that it really doesn't matter that you have any of the darker primer kind of peeking through the overlaying colours. It just adds to it, and that will become apparent later on. So just getting that one done there. Right, Ushabti Bone. This is for his apron, or the mainstay of his apron there, kind of the front and the back. What I did want his apron to be a lighter colour, because traditionally, I suppose, in my experience in like the food industry, and I know it's got absolutely nothing to do with a fantasy setting, but in the food industry in general, they have like whites and things like that, or lighter colours to show up the dirt. That's what they want. They want the dirt to show up so that you can easily see when it needs cleaning and so on. To kind of remind you, like, I think it's time you need to change this now, you know, get it washed or whatever. Yeah, just making sure I get all aspects of it. And there's a little bit in between his legs that show through from the other side, a little triangular area, which is difficult to show on camera there, but I think you get the idea. And then of course the ties at the back, not the one that goes around his neck, however. I'm leaving that for another colour later on. Okay, so got the knot on the back of the apron where he just tied it around his waist. I love you, Shabty Bone. It's got quite a multitude of uses. It's obviously not just a bone. It works well with other things such as this. Just making sure I get all the areas I need. I'm going around the cloth, you see, because I want that to stand out from it. I was contemplating doing the cloth, you Shabty Bone, not as well, but instead thinking of a different colour for the apron, but I decided against it in the end. Right, going back to Midland Flesh, and I'm going to redo the skin areas now, especially the top of his head there, which was very dirty looking, and look, the muscles on his arms, like cheeks, nose, mouth, back to his legs and feet and so on. Just leaving some of the darker colour and like deeper recesses and things like that. Just to make him look a bit cleaner. He's not a miner after all. He's a barkeep, and yes, he'll probably get dirty, but not too dirty. So I just want to clean him up a little bit by going over there, over the like the main areas on the skin, forearms, elbows, and so on. There you go. Back to his legs. And I'm just trying to really lay down all the base colours before washing. I know the skin had a wash on it as well already, but that was unavoidable because of the attaching the model to the base. I want to get that out of the way. So there you go. White Scar is next, and this is for the cloth. I wanted it to be a lot starker in contrast to his apron. I want him to use a nice clean white cloth when he's drying out his pots or glasses or mugs or whatever it is. I think at this stage I wasn't sure. I went for a mug in the end. I think it works. I did contemplate washing the cloth, but in the end I decided against it because I felt it looked better without it, and just the natural shadowing didn't need to emulate what real life was doing for me already, so I left it once this stage of the cloth was done. So sometimes less is more, I find. Alright, a Baden Black. It's like a sort of, I don't know, a belt or strap going around his waist, and also his hair. I just wanted to touch up. Doesn't have much of it, bless him. once this hair was done. I do apologise going off camera occasionally. I kind of get caught up in what I'm doing. It's difficult to keep track of looking up at the screen all the time. Alright, so what have we got here now? Mornfang Brown. I'm holding it there because I couldn't quite see it on the screen too well, the lighting and so on. So he's got a sort of like a tankard mug, wooden in my eyes. So I was just painting that in, just a little mug thing he's holding. That's it really. Oh, and I think I might have done the strap around his neck from the apron. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, there it goes. Just around his neck, just to like a sort of, I don't know, maybe a leather tie or something like that. You get to thinking all sorts of things, like, you know, maybe it's his favourite apron and he uses the leather tie. I don't know. Agrag Surf Shade. We're going to wash quite a bit of the model with this, his top and his apron, and the brown areas. So we've got to be careful. Either, see, washing is either done, either you blast it all over, like you slather it on, and you know, or you do it very fine detail, like recessed areas, or like I'm doing here, it's kind of an in-between. You're slathering it on like large areas, but not over the whole model. So you've got to be careful that it doesn't pool in the wrong areas and drip down. It's you just got to keep manipulating it around for a while until you're happy with the result. Carrick Stone. Right, now we're going into sort of do some finer highlights now. And Carrick Stone was one I used for his apron. Just the folds on his apron there, just to bring them out a little bit, clean them up a bit. It's quite a subtle change between the Ushabti Bone and the Carrick Stone, actually. And I felt personally it worked rather well. I love the way this technique sort of brings out the detail and draws the eye to it. Right, Ogre and Camo is the next colour using by Citadel, obviously, as you can see, and then we're going to use that to highlight areas of his tunic. Once again, raised areas like where he's rolled up his sleeves, and any other folds in the cloth that may be obvious or apparent to the eye. And yeah, it's just a way of, I don't know, cleaning up the model without cleaning the model, if you get my drift. And what I mean by that is, if you used to just leave it as it was, as is, it would look incredibly dirty with the, you know, with the Agrag Surf Shade wash on it and so on. So clean it up a little bit, but not too much, because at the same time I want him to look like he's, you know, he's a working man, he's done a day's work, or maybe even a couple of days. I don't know, it's fantasy. I'm sure they change their clothes in fantasy. Even in D&D, yeah, but I want him to be a little bit cleaner, so just clean up the main areas and leave the darker recesses as usual, not just for shadow, but some areas of dirtier appearance. So yeah, I want him to look like, you know, he's done a day's work basically. Right, Celestra Grey is a base colour from Citadel, and the backs, just the backs of his trousers, and that will be it then. So same deal, exactly the same. Just going along the folds of the cloth on his trousers, and once again, like I say, same as the top, same as the apron. Clean him up without making him too clean. Don't want him to look like he's walked out of a fashion store, you know. But that's it, basically. And there you go, that is my Barkeep, which I'm going to use for Dungeons and Dragons primarily. Maybe other instances I use them in the future. Sorry the lighting's not that great in the photos, but yeah, that's just him. That's as far as I'll take him, and I'll explain perhaps, because I've been asked a question about using models in RPGs, and you know, what do you do when you haven't got any models? So just use your imagination. Well, there are ways you can lend force to your imagination, especially when you're a youngster. But that's for another story. But that's my Barkeep. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please check out my Patreon account if you have a mind. That will help me loads in terms of being able to kind of have a more professional mindset to set aside some time and do things for the channel, put money into the channel, which I've done in the past. The whole green screen thing was a product of Patreon, and that enabled me to expand my horizons, so to speak. Anyway, this is another tutorial. Keep your eye out for more. Remember, all brushes lead to all. Have a great day, and bye for now, folks. Bye bye.